Alrighty. This should be good. Weird. Weird. Wait, what? Wait, what's this say? So Nova King tops worst weekend of the year with. Oh man, it's not doing good, huh? I was wondering if I should go see it. It's not a painful weekend. I might still go see it. I saw the trailer a little while ago. Wasn't that interested, but I was like, maybe I'll, go see it. Alrighty.
If you were a rational thinking person, you have to at least consider the possibility that God hates these people.
What people?
nerdrotic.com.
I see. Just
over 1 million hellions
in
the 40% who haven't subscribed.
I have to find that full thing and see who he's talking about.
Yet, in the aftermath of Tinseltown getting its ass thoroughly kicked in the great cultural shift, it seems that some people who work in the industry and their comrades in the access media, far too late, I might add, have finally realized that Hollywood is broken. And now they are openly wondering if they can reverse this state of entropy. But before we get to the consequences of the entertainment industry's 8-year woke bender, we have to go back in time a couple of months to an article titled How Hollywood Lost the Culture War. Now, that'd be a great title for a YouTube video. Don't mind if I do someday, but no, it doesn't come from me. It comes from the Los Angeles Times. Keeping in mind your time is valuable, considering that this article is a tome, it can be best summed up with a few bullet points. It admits that Hollywood is the de facto public relations arm of the Democratic Party. The LA Times also essentially admits that entertainment has turned into a platform for influence. They will say it's for social change. Some will say it's for social engineering. They will say it's to inspire marginalized people and underrepresented groups so they can feel seen. Others will say it's creative bankruptcy, subversion, and propaganda. Ultimately, the Los Angeles Times had to confess it was cringeworthy. And yes, they do blame Hollywood. It's time to admit that the losers in the culture war have brought this on themselves. Let's give credit where credit is due for the Los Angeles Times. Not bad so far, but as with all of these articles, it's when they get to the summation. Sure, they mention all the other factors, including but not limited to, and you've heard them all before, so let's get through them quickly. The multiple shutdowns due to COVID and the worst time strike in history, churning out content instead of entertainment, the corporatism, and the streaming bubble burst. And those are all aging yet still valid points.
But like a poor marksman, you keep missing the target.
Because according to the LA Times' Matt Brennan, Hollywood wasn't trying hard enough. It would be tempting to conclude that Hollywood should heed post-election autopsies inveighing against magic words, radical chic, and going woke. He claims everything bad about going woke is built on a convenient fiction that's backed up by study after study after study, showing that diverse storytelling and diverse audiences are sound business, not virtuous.
Bullshit. Actually, on one level, it's correct though. However, when you're heavy-handed and preachy with it, like you have been, that's been the problem. Okay? When you twist things and try to fit a square peg into a round hole just because you need to check a box, it sticks out like a sore thumb and people see it and they're tired of it. They're bored of it. Okay? I'm tired of my people being tokenized for you to virtue signal and tell us you're great people and you just want to be diverse. I'm tired of it. LGBTQ community's tired of it. Just go to Twitter. You can find plenty that are sick of being gay baited. And there are plenty of women that are so sick and tired of the strong woman. They're tired of it. And stop uglifying our women too. Okay? I'm so sick and tired of you giving all black women crew cuts and bald heads. Black women have beautiful hair. Let them show it. Let them show their beauty. Stop trying to make them look like hardened men from prison. Okay? And you're not just doing it to black women. You're doing it to other races of women too. But right now I'm talking about my women. Okay?
Never mind that study after study after study came from the paragon of objectivity, the University of California at Los Angeles. And now it's accusing Hollywood of pandering to conservatives by rolling back progress it hasn't actually made. Really? It needs to DEI harder. Listen, I've been critical of Hollywood for a lot of things, but you can't accuse them of not trying to DEI hard. And let's not forget they almost gave it Ombre Best Actress at the Oscars, and we will get to that. I just want to say, dude, I was rooting for you. Despite all of the access media and tinsel.
Oh, I know he was rooting for you. You was rooting for you because you knew it was going to be a backlash. And it would be hilarious if it had happened.
Introspection or navel gazing, there still seems to be a giant missing link in their theory. Let's keep in mind, Hollywood's mantra last year was survive until 25. So let's fast forward to today. Novocaine with 8 million leads lowest grossing weekend of 2025 to date. Box office, Novocaine tops worst weekend of the year with 8.7 million as audiences numbed by new offerings.
I only saw one comment in my comment section that was like, hey, you should go see it. It was pretty good. Like one person said something about Novocaine. Like I haven't seen anything else. So, yeah.
Novocaine leads another painful weekend at the box office. Jack Quaid and Robert Pattinson led the worst weekend at the box office in decades. As sequels like Captain America and Paddington fall short and original films like Black Bag and Mickey 17 struggle, when will the box office rebound? And I can hear you now, and you'd be right. We're only halfway through March. That is true. We're also 2 weeks away from the end of the first quarter. And considering what they released and what they're going to release in this quarter, to be fair, maybe the mantra was, we'll survive until a little later in 25. It doesn't help that you released 2 Jack Quaid movies within 2 months of each other. One was pretty good. Haven't seen the other. It also doesn't help that Mickey 17 completely bombed despite a good performance by Robert Pattinson, but ultimately it was brought down by its incurable TDS. This will be a theme for this video. But the one film that was supposed to be the big hit of the quarter is now officially a flop. Captain African American. Side note, it's a flop even with Disney's bullshit numbers, with Variety ultimately admitting it's one of the worst performing Disney Marvel films of all time.
So while no one believes that it's a $180 million film, most believe that it's $350 million film. At 180, it's still bad. It's still a flop. That's bad. So just giving Disney the benefit of the doubt, if it truly was 180, they still did bad.
Despite Collider saying it's one of the top 100.
And I enjoyed myself in the movie, by the way. So the best part was the fight between him and the Hulk. I love when the Hulk was chasing him. I love that part, but oh man.
Action films of all time, and MCU updates calling it the 31st highest grossing Marvel film. And to add insult to injury over on the streaming side, the bane of Hollywood's existence, Disney Marvel's Daredevil, which I've kind of liked so far, has actually underperformed to the tune of being beat out in the...
I saw the episode last night. Yeah, it was some good dialogue there between him and the Punisher and and Fisk, the Kingpin, but nothing really to talk about, much to talk about.
Same time period by The Acolyte, which was canceled. Well, it's no surprise that Hollywood is a little shook right now, and they should be. According to David Poland at the Hot Button, who said he really had no interest about writing about another weekend at the box office this week, and this was prior to this past weekend, it's simple math. It's the third weekend in a row under 100 million overall at the domestic box office, and worse, these 3 weekends have all been under 80 million. The most recent 2 both under 55 million. Well, we just so happen to have an update on this from the Hollywood Reporter. Can Tinseltown make it 3 weekends in a row with the domestic box office total under $55 million? It's hardly typical to see a weekend where not one picture crosses $10 million. But this weekend's result is an estimated $54.7 million in overall domestic box office revenue. I knew you could do it. Things have gotten so bad that Hollywood is actually relying on Snow White to save them. I wish I was joking. Yes, the very same controversial Snow White that had initial box office opening projections between 63 and 70 million, which were reduced to between 40.
I wonder if in this movie she's gonna walk like this, like she did at the award show. No chance. No chance in hell.
And 58 million, and it turns out they're going to be
How appropriate is that song for that movie?
That to say theater owners are counting the days until Snow White opens wide is an understatement after a miserable few weekends at the box office. Or how about this one? Things are so dire, the godless heathens are thanking God. Thank God for Snow White next weekend, right? Who knew with that movie?
By the way, Disney, do not buy up theater seats because people are looking for it now. People are looking for it.
Controversy, we'd be saying that. However, the industry should be thankful. If Snow White pulls off a $50 million plus opening with that $200 to $300 million budget, but to be fair to the theater.
Oh, by the way, I'll link it. I'll try to remember to link it. Go back and look at my video about the empty theaters for Snow White. I didn't notice because the symbols were so small. The seats were not bought, but they were unavailable that were marked off. So the numbers were worse than what I thought. So in other words, no, you can't sit in these seats. They can't be bought. But then there are seats that were actually taken. They were actually bought. So the numbers were worse, even less seats than I thought were bought. That rhymed, don't need to play the game bars. So you might have saw 6 seats that I thought were taken, but really 3 or 4 of them were just unavailable, and only 2 people bought seats for those shows in a full theater.
Theaters, they don't care how much Disney paid for it. They need to sell popcorn for what has been a barren desert of business right now. And whose fault is that? This is my favorite bit. The Hollywood Reporter, who wrote the last article, wrote this one 4 days previous. Inside Disney's Snow White troubles, they need to get this over with. Disney's live-action Snow White reboot starring Rachel Zegler and
Tear the Band-Aid off.
like a can't-miss project 5 years ago, but have some PR missteps. PR missteps?
No, it didn't seem like it back then either.
Combined with anti-woke outrage, turned marketing the film into a poisoned apple. Shout out to Team Poison Apple. I don't know, Access Media, would you consider disrespecting the film that created Disney and in turn disrespecting Walt Disney by calling it dated?
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated. The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Which in turn pissed off one political sect. It pissed off the entire Disney fandom.
She comes off so bad. So bad. I truly can't see her ever truly making it. I can't. Not with that. She would have to disappear for years and come back and not talk at all.
Telling fans who don't agree with their political takes to unsubscribe and wishing half the country to never know peace. Are those missteps?
And if you disagree with the sentiment, just hit the unfollow button. I don't need your business.
Are you sure about that?
Pause that led to the canceling of the premiere in the UK, shutting down the American premiere to the press who would have been friendly to them, and only allowing in-house Disney people. But I have to give Disney credit on this one. They actually managed to shut Rachel Zegler up, which is the best move they've made. Now, does this move disappoint 1,000 YouTubers? Yes. Will they permit that she'll stay quiet, especially if the film bombs? No. Will the press hate the
I
fan?
didn't think about that. It means less content. It does mean less content. Like, yeah, guess what else she said today? That's fine. There's plenty of things to talk about.
This is the aggressor and Rachel as the victim. Well, the BBC has already planted that seed. Will Snow White be a victim of its own
He just said the BBC, man.
moment? How the Disney remake became 2025's most divisive film. It's like the old song says, the wheels on the bus go round and round. Snow White to me just looks like yet another creative bankrupt subversion of a classic, but I have no idea whether it's going to be woke or intersectional or not. But it looks like the Access Media might have an idea. The female skewing live action event pick, which remakes Walt Disney's cherished 1937 animated classic, has been under fire for years on social media due to a combination of the film's progressive creative decisions and star Rachel Zegler's controversial comments, while also suffering from culture war attacks that seem doggedly determined to torpedo the perceived woke film no matter what. To me, the actual film's performance is irrelevant at this point because the overall brand damage has been done. No, not just to Disney, to Hollywood. Because Rachel Zegler and Snow White are a microcosm for what was and still is woke Hollywood. She made herself the poster child for it.
Weird.
I am not without sympathy or empathy, Hollywood. I get it. You've been through hell with multiple disruptions. Whether you brought it on yourself.
That's gonna be my thumbnail. I'm gonna make the face, the weird face. Weird.
For there were acts of God, a pandemic, strikes, fires, AI, DEI. While the studios are backing away, the Film Actors Guild just doubled down. And all this has played a part in the entire Hollywood ecosystem collapsing. The entertainment industry has become a subsidiary to the tech industry. Theaters are suffering, broadcast is dying, film festivals are fading, and award show audiences are dwindling. Speaking of that, Hollywood came within a hair's breadth this year of ending award shows forever. Because Amelia Perez was going to sweep, including giving a dude the Best Actress award. And the only reason that didn't happen is somebody magically unearthed some salty tweets from Carlos, I'm sorry, Carlos Sofia Gascon. And now they're making the poor guy go on an apology tour. Carlos Sofia Gascon commits to continuing to learn and listen. Or Carlos, I'm sorry, Carla says you will always find me on the opposite side of fanaticism, imposition, and the patriarchy.
It's a man.
Okay, we'll stop real quick to say, what if just all the woke stuff disappears? Well, then you have to deal with the problem of creative bankruptcy. There are certainly going to be some pretty big hits this year.
I gotta tell you, Roddick, though, think about it. Wouldn't you rather deal with that? I'd rather deal with a bunch of sequels than deal with all the woke garbage that we have been choking on for all these years. Right? Right? Think if you had to choose woke or just a bunch of sequels and remakes. I'm going for the sequels and remakes all day. All day. To me, that's the least of our problems right now with entertainment. Because they've been doing that. Since I was a kid, they've been doing sequels and remakes. I'm used to it. This, the majority of the world can't stand it.
Including Lilo and Stitch, a remake of an animated film, and How to Train Your
By
Dragon.
the way, I watched Lilo and Stitch the other day. I had a good time. It was fun.
A remake
For the
of an
first
animated
time,
film.
you know.
You're not exactly innovating or breaking any ground. It's the equivalent of rolling out what's left of the Rolling Stones for another tour. Anywho, this brings us to the biggest problem in this scenario, one that the audience already knows, so forgive me for repeating it, but this one goes directly to Hollywood because it's a problem you haven't faced or even acknowledged. And this just so happens to be the most underrepresented, marginalized group in this entire equation. The audience. You made the same mistake as the political party that you love to support. You lost the working man and woman.
But I've been saying this since the 80s when when movie ticket prices, they were $5 forever in America. And then all of a sudden they started moving up to $6.50 and $7 and $7.25 and $7.50 and all this stuff. This is a working man's art form. Yeah. It's not opera, it's not theater, it's not going to a big concert. It was the idea was that anybody could go and see a movie. That was one of the reasons why movies flourished in the 30s, and it's not anymore. We have priced them out until now it's a deal.
By their own admission, Hollywood is broken, and there's no better evidence than needing to rely on yet another Snow White remake to get you through a weekend. Tinseltown now will be a good time to figure out a way to apologize. Reconnect with the average moviegoer who also happens to be the paying customer. It's something I don't think you're capable of doing, but if you don't, then maybe it is the beginning of the
Nerdrotic.com.
Get over to Nerdrotic and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone the Magnus sent you. 10 million subscribers. Woo! Man, Hollywood, you better get it together. Goddamn!